transgender is nonsense. The suicide rates are precisely the same before and after the surgery, and they are both in excess of 40%, which is unbelievably high. The idea that society is responsible for transgender suicide is absolute garbage. It is not true. Okay, the fact is that even they've done polls of this. There's a poll from the Anderson School at UCLA, and they found that even transgender people who say they're not questioned about being transgendered, they have exactly the same rate of suicidality, meaning that this is a mental illness, because that rate of suicidality is so far beyond anything that has ever been experienced in any population of humans ever. Seriously, the only comparable rate of suicide to the transgender community today is Jews living under Nazi German rule. That is the only time in human history that there has been that rate of suicide. So I promise you, transgenders are not being treated like Jews under Nazi German rule, so it clearly is not societal impact that is making people suicidal. What's making people suicidal is that this is a mental illness, and it is barbaric to suggest that a man can become a woman and a woman can become a man with a snip of the knife. It's horrifying, and it is mutilation, and it is brutal. And the people who are pushing this have no sympathy for the people who are actually suffering from it. They're forwarding mental illness. They're forwarding mental illness to kids because they want to teach this to children now. And this is one where you're on. I mean, these people. It is unbelievable to me that the left suggests that we're the party of anti-science. Okay, they are the party of vaccines are bad and men can magically become women through some magic man-to-woman machine, right? It's such utter nonsense. Every cell of Caitlyn Jenner's body has a Y chromosome, except ironically for his sperm cells, right? So the idea that these are women is just it's utter tripe. And I have to say I am enjoying a little bit how the transgender movement is destroying feminism. That's kind of fun. Because the feminists have always argued that men and women are inherently different, right? Men and women are inherent, and women have a beautiful, unique thing to bring to the world. And then, of course, they say a bunch of other crap. But that's the part what they say is true. And now they're saying, but transgenderism says that men and women are exactly the same and can randomly shift. It's weird to hear Hillary Clinton, for example, say, Caitlyn Jenner is a beautiful, lovely woman, and then in the same sentence say, and we need a woman president. It's like, well, that's kind of weird. Why? If men and women are exactly the same, then why do we need a woman president? Right? Men and women are exactly the same. So if Barack Obama, without any changes to himself, but if Obama really wanted to jack her in this election, he would do that. He'd come out 2 days before the election and he'd say, I'm the first woman president. Right?
And Ben Shapiro, senior editor, Breitbart News, author of Bullies. Ben, does she deserve this award?
For what?
For courageously coming forward, for having been an athlete of great prowess, and now fighting a new battle.
What exactly is the battle? I mean, self-definition is what you do, and my baby's doing it at 18 months old. I wasn't aware that you get a medal for it.
Shagun?
I think she's a fraud. I thought the message and the messenger were wrong. I was in the audience at the ESPYs, and if you want to talk about courage, she said it herself in her speech that she retreated to her mansion in the Hill and was... Where was she in the 70s when the LGBT community was fighting for acceptance? Where was she in the 80s when the AIDS epidemic was ravaging the LGBT community?
She was hiding, feeling bad about being transgender.
Where was she in the 90s when shows like 90210, Melrose Place, and Will and Grace were bringing gay people to the forefront? Where was she in 2000s?
She couldn't come forward yet.
My thing is this. She's a 65-year-old rich white woman that decided to do this, but don't tell me you're walking in the truth for other transgender kids of color who don't have that war chest of money to get the surgery to look like she looks. They're not going to get the cover of Vanity Fair. So don't tell me that she is going to stand on the banks waving her hand as the beacon for transgenders when there's a river of blood of people that die.
Okay, regardless of who the messenger is, okay, whether you like it or her not, or think that this is an authentic person or not, or her intent, she is bringing a conversation to the forefront that is helping people better understand, not you, unfortunately, better understand the transgender community, have more empathy, have more tolerance, and that is saving lives. Because as she stated, there are so many transgender youths and adults that are victims of violence, that are beat up, that are bullied because of the discrimination. So thank God that now she is mainstreaming it so people can better understand it and have tolerance.
Sam, that's dead wrong.
Wait, dead wrong.
She lives in the most accepting city in the state. And go do that in Alabama.
You don't know what you're talking
be a hero. Be a hero.
Listen to Zoe. Listen to Zoe.
Zoe, go ahead.
Good try. You have to bifurcate it. Did she deserve the honor? Probably not. Is she brave? Of course she's brave. All those years invested as this sports legend. To come out transgender is horribly difficult. It is the most difficult thing you can do. I've been overseas. I've flown helicopter missions, surveillance missions. I've been shot, stabbed. Being brave is being yourself. And being transgender is about the bravest thing you can do. Did she deserve the award?
65?
Yes.
Why are we mainstreaming delusion?
It's not delusion.
Why would you call it delusion?
Because Bruce Caitlyn Jenner, I'll call him Caitlyn Jenner.
No,
because
it's her. You're not being polite to the pronouns.
Because
disrespectful.
Okay, forget about the disrespect. Facts don't care about your feelings. It turns out that every chromosome, every cell in Caitlyn Jenner's body is male, with the exception of some of his sperm cells. It turns out that his brain structure is male. It turns out that he still has all of his male appendages. How he feels on the inside is irrelevant to the question of his biological sex.
I don't agree with that. I'm not on that train. I'm not on that train. She wants to be called she. I'm going to call her she. I just have a problem with the message and the messenger.
So well, I'm going to do two things. I want to reiterate what Zoe said, which is the bifurcation of the courage to come forward after a lifetime as a male and a certain kind of a male, versus did she deserve this award? Listen, awards, what are award ceremonies except an opportunity to catch some eyes?
Especially the
So, yeah. It's like ESPN, well done, ABC. They did exactly what their job was, to attract eyes. They did it. That's what award ceremonies are for. But in terms of the science behind gender dysphoria, you're very familiar with that, Zoe.
Very familiar.
It's not about the chromosome. Excuse me, the chromosomes within our
both know
nuclei. Yeah, go ahead.
Chromosomes don't necessarily mean you're male or female.
Gender.
With gender
identity. Go ahead. No, so
especially, but even so, you have a thing like Klinefelter's syndrome. So you don't know what you're talking about. You're not educated on genetics.
Would you like to discuss the genetics? Or
well, no,
what
no.
are your genetics?
So I'd stay away from the genetics and back to the brain scans.
You cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
Yeah, that seems mildly inappropriate for a political discussion.
No, I know. Well, but wait. To be fair, but to be fair, you're actually being kind of rude. And that's not fair.
I'm sorry, it's not rude to say that someone who's biologically a male is a male. Someone who's biologically male is a male.
But Mr. Shapiro, you knew very well that saying that to Zoe would be egregiously insulting.
It's not a matter of insulting or inflammatory.
It is.
No,
Sir, you're right. On paper, what is a fact is a fact, and I can't deny that. But you knew that going in, that saying that to Zoe would be aggressively insulting.
It's not a matter of aggressively insulting.
It is.
The entire discussion is whether we are embracing mental illness and delusion as a society. That's the entire discussion.
No, but you're avoiding the fact.